Most people don't like to talk about the end of life. And honestly, that's understandable. But if you're over 60, you've probably felt it. Something shifts. The way you think. The way you feel. The way you look at the days ahead. It's not always something you can explain to your kids or even to yourself. It just happens. Some changes feel normal, your body slows down, your routines get simpler. But other changes are more quiet, more emotional. And they raise questions you might not have asked before. Sylvia Browne, a woman known for her work around the afterlife, once said that when someone is entering their final year, the soul knows it before the body does. And though it might not be obvious to others, there are signs, gentle signs, that show the spirit is preparing. These aren't signs of fear or pain. They're signs of reflection, of quiet clarity. They show up in the way someone talks, the things they care about, the memories that come rushing back all of a sudden. Now, this isn't about predicting when someone will pass away. It's not about doom and gloom. It's about honoring this time with calm, with understanding, and with presence. Because when we notice these signs, not with worry, but with love, we create space for peace. We get a chance to say the things we never said. To sit with someone and simply be there. And maybe, for once, that's enough. So in this video, we'll talk about 10 signs that may show up when someone is gently preparing for their last chapter. Not everyone will experience all of them. Some will only show one or two. But each one has meaning. Each one is a doorway to love, clarity, and letting go with grace. Before we dive in, I'd love to know, where are you watching from today? Drop your city or state in the comments below. I always love seeing how far our community is reaching. Sign 1: Deep reflections and the urge to share untold stories. You might notice that a loved one, maybe even yourself, starts bringing up the past more often. Not just casually, but with purpose. Stories that haven't been shared in decades start coming out. Memories from childhood, regrets, little moments that once seemed unimportant suddenly feel worth mentioning. And it's not just small talk. There's a kind of urgency to it. Like the person wants to pass something on before it's too late. Sometimes these are stories that were too painful to tell before. Other times, they're sweet, simple memories that never found the right moment to be shared. Sylvia Browne believed this wasn't just a coincidence. She said it's the soul's way of leaving its lessons behind. Of making peace with everything that's happened. It's a way of closing the loop, giving voice to things that were held in the heart for a lifetime. And if you've been on the receiving end of one of these conversations, you've probably felt it. It's not about small details. It's about meaning. About legacy. For many older adults, this reflection phase feels natural, even if they can't explain why they're doing it. They're not trying to impress anyone or prove a point. They just feel the need to speak from the heart. To clear the air. To tell someone, this is what I lived through. This is who I was. This is what mattered. If you're around someone going through this, the best thing you can do is listen. Really listen. Don't interrupt. Don't rush them. Even if you've heard the story before, hear it again like it's the first time. Because it might be the last time they have the strength or clarity to tell it. And if you're the one doing the remembering, don't hold back. Your memories aren't just for you, they're gifts, full of wisdom, emotion, and truth. Let them be shared. Sign 2: Gradual withdrawal from daily life. One of the quietest, yet most telling changes that can happen in this stage of life is a slow pulling away from the everyday routine. You may see it in yourself or someone close to you. Tasks that were once part of the rhythm, morning coffee, watering the plants, reading the newspaper, or even going for walks, don't seem to matter as much anymore. It's not laziness. It's not giving up. It's a soft shift away from the outside world toward something more inward. Sylvia Browne described this as the soul beginning to detach gently from the material world. The body is still here, yes, but the spirit starts focusing elsewhere. You might notice a person stops caring about the news, stops keeping up with errands, or no longer shows interest in activities that once brought joy. And this change can be hard to watch. Family members sometimes take it personally. They wonder, are they depressed? Are they upset with me? But often, it's not sadness. It's something deeper. It's a turning inward, a natural pause. This stage isn't the same as depression, though they can look alike. The difference is in the energy behind it. With depression, there's usually pain, heaviness, and hopelessness. But with this kind of withdrawal, there's often peace. A soft quiet. It might even feel like the person is more thoughtful, more present in a strange way, just not in the way we're used to. Sometimes, this withdrawal also shows up physically. The person may want to stay in bed longer. Or they may stop answering phone calls, cancel visits, or stop following TV shows they used to love. Again, it's not about giving up. It's more like their attention is slowly shifting towards something we can't quite see. If you're a family member or friend, try not to force them back into routines. Instead, sit with them in the silence. Be near without expectation. Offer presence instead of activity. Because in this stage, just sitting together, saying nothing, can be the most powerful form of connection. Sign 3, changes in sleep and intense, vivid dreams. Another sign that often goes unnoticed, but holds deep meaning, is a change in how someone sleeps. It's not always dramatic. In fact, it may happen so gradually that people chalk it up to aging or just another restless night. But when someone is quietly approaching the final chapter of their life, their sleep often shifts in a way that feels different. They might start sleeping more during the day and staying awake at night. They might have trouble falling asleep, or they might drift off easily but wake up often. But the most striking part? The dreams. These aren't just ordinary dreams. People report seeing loved ones who have passed away, sometimes even having full conversations with them. Others describe incredibly vivid dreams that feel more like experiences than sleep. These dreams often leave a lasting feeling, something hard to explain but hard to forget. Sylvia Browne believed these weren't just dreams, but a kind of spiritual communication. The soul, according to her, begins to reach toward the next place, and in sleep, the boundaries between this world and the next grow thinner. It's not uncommon for people to wake up and say things like, "I saw my mother," or "I had the most peaceful dream with your dad." These moments aren't to be dismissed. They mean something to the person going through them, even if they don't always make sense to the rest of us. Sometimes, these dreams bring a sense of calm. Other times, they stir up old feelings, grief, confusion, or even comfort that's hard to put into words. If you hear someone talking about these dreams, don't try to explain them away. Just listen. Ask them what it felt like. Let them share. Sleep becomes less about rest and more about reflection. More about connection. As the spirit moves between here and there, the unconscious seems to do a kind of quiet work, processing, preparing, and opening doors we don't see when we're awake. If you're the one having these dreams, know that it's okay. You're not imagining things or losing your mind. You're tuning into something deeper, something many people never talk about, but quietly recognize when it happens. Sleep, in this stage of life, becomes more than just physical rest. It becomes a gentle space where the spirit starts to explore what comes next. And if that brings peace, let it. If it brings questions, sit with them. This isn't something to be feared. It's something to be honored. Sign 4, sudden loss of interest in the world around. There comes a point when someone who once enjoyed chatting about news, favorite shows, recipes, or even family updates just doesn't anymore. It doesn't happen all at once, but it's noticeable. They become quieter during conversations. They might smile and nod, but they don't seem as invested. Topics that once lit them up now seem to pass by without much reaction. And this change can be confusing to those around them. But it's not boredom. It's not rudeness. According to Sylvia Browne, this shift often means that the soul is gently letting go of the outer world, turning inward. Not in a sad way, but in a thoughtful, almost sacred way. The person begins to focus on what truly matters to them on a deeper level. Big opinions fade. Small things take priority. The sound of the birds in the morning, a warm blanket, the feeling of sunlight on the skin, these start to matter more than debates or schedules. This doesn't mean the person doesn't care about you or the people they love. Quite the opposite. They're just less interested in the noise of everyday life and more tuned into peace. And that peace often doesn't include social drama, world events, or constant updates. It's more about being than doing. More about stillness than stimulation. You might notice this shift during visits. Where once they wanted to talk about everything, now they just want to sit. Maybe listen to music, or just be near someone in silence. And to some, that can feel distant. But if you lean into that quietness instead of filling it, you might realize it's full of presence, just in a different way. It's also possible that this disinterest shows up as skipping meals they used to enjoy, leaving hobbies behind, or even forgetting to check in on things they once followed closely. Again, it's not forgetfulness, it's a quiet shift of attention. If you're seeing this in someone you care about, don't panic. Don't push them to snap out of it. Just meet them where they are. Ask what they'd like to do, even if the answer is nothing. That kind of gentle understanding means more than trying to bring things back to how they used to be. Sign 5, a gentle shift toward forgiveness and unexpected reconnection. One of the most powerful and emotional signs that someone may be approaching the final stage of life is the quiet need to make peace. You might see it when a parent suddenly asks to speak to an old friend they haven't talked to in years. Or when someone brings up a long-forgotten conflict, not with anger, but with a softness that says, "I don't want to carry this anymore." This urge to reconnect or forgive often comes unexpectedly. But it's rarely random. Sylvia Browne believed that the soul wants balance before it moves on. And part of that balance comes from healing what's been broken, whether it's a relationship, a misunderstanding, or just the silence that settled between two people. You may see someone pick up the phone after decades, write a letter they never send, or suddenly bring up a family member they've never spoken about. It might be awkward. It might be emotional. But it's almost always meaningful. Sometimes, the push to forgive isn't about anyone else. It's about the person themselves. They want to let go of guilt. Or regret. Or pain they've carried silently for too long. And when they start to talk about it, it's not for pity or validation, it's a kind of emotional release. A final sorting through the heart before moving forward in peace. If you're on the receiving end of this, try to hold space without rushing the moment. You don't need to fix anything. You just need to listen. Let them share what they need to say. Sometimes, just being present as they speak can bring more healing than any solution ever could. And if you're the one who feels that urge, don't ignore it. If there's someone you've been thinking about, someone you once loved or once hurt, or someone you just miss deeply, it's okay to reach out. Even if nothing comes of it, the act of trying brings peace. This kind of emotional reconnection may seem small from the outside, but to the soul, it's everything. It clears the path. It softens the journey. And it leaves behind less pain and more clarity, for both the one who's going and those who stay behind. Sign 6, a subtle change in the eyes, a dimming of presence. If you've spent time with someone nearing the final phase of life, you may have seen it, a quiet shift in their eyes. It's hard to describe, but once you notice it, it stays with you. Their eyes might still look at you, still blink, still follow what's around them, but the deep spark, that strong presence, seems softer. Calmer. Almost like they're seeing something far away that no one else in the room can see. Sylvia Browne spoke about this as one of the most telling signs that the soul is beginning to disconnect. She said when the spirit starts preparing to leave the body, the eyes, often called the windows of the soul, begin to reflect that movement. It's not the same as confusion or illness. The body might still be alert, the mind still aware. But the gaze feels lighter, more distant, as if the person is already starting to look beyond this world. Sometimes this look is mistaken for distraction. Family members might think their loved one is just tired or lost in thought. But if you've been close to them for a long time, you'll sense the difference. It's not forgetfulness. It's not daydreaming. It's the beginning of something deeper, a quiet readiness. This can be an emotional realization for caregivers and loved ones. It's difficult to accept. You want to believe there's still time, still plans to make, still stories to hear. And many times, there is still time. But when you notice this change in the eyes, it's often a gentle invitation to be more present, to stop rushing, to sit a little longer, and to see the person, not just with your eyes, but with your heart. What matters most in these moments isn't what you say. It's that you're there. Holding a hand. Meeting their gaze without fear. Offering comfort through presence, not words. It's a reminder that even in silence, even in stillness, the heart continues to speak. And the eyes, though quieter now, are still telling the truth. They're saying, I'm still here. But I'm also beginning to go. And there's a deep kind of grace in that. Sign 7, a need to get things in order, letting go with love. One of the most tender and revealing signs that someone may be sensing the approach of their final chapter is a quiet but clear need to put things in order. It might show up in the simplest ways. Maybe they start sorting old papers, giving away cherished items, organizing drawers that haven't been touched in years. Some people begin updating their wills. Others begin writing notes, labeling photo albums, or passing down jewelry and keepsakes, without being asked. This behavior is often misunderstood. Some family members might see it as a sign of anxiety or control. But what Sylvia Browne taught is that this is the soul speaking. It's a way of saying, I want to leave things as easy as possible for you. I want to go without leaving confusion or burden behind. It's not about fear, it's about love. It's about peace. For many older adults, this isn't something they talk about openly. They just start doing it. Quietly, gently. They might not even explain why. But if you pay attention, you'll notice that this process isn't random. It's purposeful. It's thoughtful. Every object given away, every letter written, carries weight. It's their way of saying, remember me this way. This meant something to me, and now I want it to mean something to you. Sometimes, they may give things to people who don't expect it, a neighbor, an old friend, a distant cousin. And when asked why, the answer might be as simple as, I just felt it was time. There's an internal clock guiding them, one we can't see, but that they feel deeply. If you see this happening, try not to stop them. Even if it feels too soon, even if you're not ready to think about letting go, remember that this is their way of finding peace. Support them gently. Ask if they'd like help. Offer to write labels or sort items together. Turn it into a moment of closeness instead of resistance. This sign, above all, is about responsibility wrapped in tenderness. It's about clearing the path, not just for yourself, but for everyone who will walk behind you. And there's deep dignity in that. Sign 8, a rise in emotional sensitivity and gentle gratitude. During the final stages of life, something beautiful often begins to emerge, an emotional openness that wasn't there before. You might see someone cry more easily, express gratitude for small things, or get deeply moved by a memory, a kind word, or a simple gesture. And this isn't because they're too emotional or losing control. In fact, it's the opposite. It's the soul becoming more connected to the deeper meaning of life, one moment at a time. Sylvia Browne explained that as the body prepares to rest, the heart begins to feel more. Walls that were once up come down. Old defenses soften. And people start noticing things they once brushed aside. A visit from an old friend. A favorite childhood song. A photo from decades ago. These things don't just bring nostalgia, they stir the soul. They awaken something that's been quiet for a long time. You may hear phrases like, "I don't know why this is making me cry," or, "That really touched me." Sometimes it's joy. Sometimes it's sadness. Often, it's both. It's the feeling of knowing that each day is a gift. That even the smallest moments hold weight. And that now, more than ever, they're worth noticing. This kind of emotional sensitivity isn't a weakness, it's a sign of wisdom. It's the heart saying, "This matters. You matter." And for those who are witnessing it, the best thing you can do is meet it with kindness. Don't tell them to toughen up. Don't try to cheer them up right away. Just be there. Let the tears fall. Let the laughter come too. Because in this stage, every emotion is sacred. You might also notice an increase in saying, "Thank you." Sometimes for things you didn't even realize mattered. A cup of tea. A warm blanket. Sitting quietly together. That kind of gratitude is deep, it comes from a place of seeing clearly, maybe for the first time, what truly counts. If you're feeling this shift in yourself, allow it. Don't hold back or feel embarrassed. These emotions are part of your spirit finding peace. Feeling things more deeply doesn't mean something is wrong, it means you're fully alive in a moment that matters. Sign 9, a different sense of time. One of the more subtle signs that someone may be approaching the final phase of their life is a quiet shift in how they relate to time. Calendars become less important. Appointments, schedules, and future plans don't seem to matter like they used to. The person starts living more in the now, moment by moment, without much concern for what day it is or what's coming next. And while this might seem odd at first, it's actually a very natural part of the journey. Sylvia Browne explained that when the spirit begins to prepare for departure, it starts detaching from what she called chronological time. Instead of living by clocks and calendars, people begin to feel time differently, emotionally, spiritually. A few minutes of watching the rain can feel like hours. A shared laugh at the kitchen table can feel like an entire afternoon. It's not about losing track of time, it's about experiencing it in a deeper way. You might notice this when someone forgets appointments but remembers a moment from 50 years ago with perfect clarity. Or when they stop asking, "What day is it?" and instead say, "This morning felt really special." The focus shifts from planning ahead to noticing what's here right now. And honestly, there's a quiet wisdom in that. While the rest of the world rushes forward, the person steps into a slower rhythm, one that values the present over the future. It's not about giving up. It's about tuning in. This can sometimes frustrate family members, especially when they're trying to keep life organized. But if you can pause and meet the person where they are, you'll start to understand. They're not being forgetful. They're being present in a way that most people rarely are. If you see this shift happening, lean into it. Slow down. Sit with them. Watch the birds out the window. Listen to the same song twice. Let conversations go nowhere in particular. Because in these simple, quiet moments, something sacred is happening. The soul is preparing, not with fear, but with attention. With appreciation. Sign 10, a growing spiritual connection. As someone approaches the final stretch of life, it's common to see a soft but unmistakable interest in spiritual matters. Even people who never spoke much about faith or belief might begin asking questions like, "What do you think happens after this?" or "Do you believe in something more?" It doesn't always come with big words or religious rituals. Sometimes, it's as simple as watching the sunrise a little differently, or pausing before a meal in quiet thought. Sylvia Browne believed that this growing connection wasn't random, it was the soul returning to its source. She described it as the spirit preparing itself to cross into another place, gently reaching out beyond the physical world, not with fear but with curiosity and calm. And you can feel that shift. It's quiet. It's personal. But it's real. You might notice someone finding comfort in prayer, even if they hadn't prayed in years. Or maybe they want to listen to hymns, read old scriptures, or just sit in silence. Some begin to talk about feeling a presence nearby, or seeing signs, like dreams, a certain bird at the window, or the peaceful feeling they get when they're alone. These aren't things that need to be debated or explained. They're moments of connection. And they deserve respect. This spiritual openness isn't about following a set of rules. It's about finding peace. Some people start meditating. Others ask for someone to pray with them. Some don't say a word but close their eyes and smile when a memory or soft breeze touches their skin. These are all ways the spirit begins to stretch, like it's remembering something from long ago. Something that feels familiar. If you're witnessing this in someone, let them lead the way. Ask them gently what brings them peace. What they're thinking about. What they want to talk about, if anything at all. Sometimes they just want someone to sit beside them while they figure it out in their own way. And if it's you feeling this change, if you're drawn to quiet thoughts, peaceful moments, or old beliefs you once put aside, honor that. Let yourself lean into the stillness. Trust that it's part of something greater. You don't need answers. You just need space to feel whatever it is that's rising in you. This final sign is not about religion. It's about reconnection. With your soul. With your source. And with the deep truth that, even at the edge of life, something beautiful still waits to be discovered. If you've recognized even a few of these signs, in yourself or someone you love, you're not alone. These changes may not always be obvious, and they don't come with big announcements. But they mean something. They're quiet signals from the soul, whispering that it's preparing for something different. Something deeper. And while it's hard to face, it's also a time full of meaning, tenderness, and unexpected beauty. Sylvia Browne didn't share these signs to scare people or to predict exact moments. She shared them to help us see what most of us try so hard to avoid. The truth is, when we open our eyes and our hearts to what's really happening, we create space for something sacred. We stop rushing. We stop correcting. And we start listening. Because when someone you love is going through this stage, what they need most isn't advice, or cheerfulness, or false hope. What they need is you. Your presence. Your calm. Your ability to just sit with them, even in silence. And that might be the greatest gift you can give. If this message spoke to your heart, please share it with someone who might need it. Sometimes, just knowing that someone else understands can be a comfort all its own. And if you'd like to be part of a community that speaks with care, honesty, and respect about these quiet parts of life, we'd love to have you with us.